The issue at hand is that we often focus on changing the system, not realizing that the system is a reflection of ourselves. To truly understand and affect change, we must first recognize that this is a mirror effect. Even in the process of liberalization, where segments of the population are seemingly uplifted, the underlying mechanisms still serve the state's interests. This is evident in neoliberal policies where economic shifts such as inflation create this illusion of access to wealth while perpetuating this existing global order at the same time. The mobilization of the middle class and the extension of the consumer power are strategies to maintain the status quo, not genuine efforts towards egalitarianism. In this landscape, we grapple with the challenge of realizing meaningful change that transcends the limitation imposed by our historical psychological baggage. The current socioeconomic landscape is witnessing a trend where more individuals are that were previously lower income are becoming lifted up to become upper middle class and being lifted into a higher economic bracket. And this phenomenon, which I term liberalization, is occurring within the framework set by the state. It's not aligned in any way with any type of socialist or egalitarian principle, but with neoliberalism. And this is like where they're using inflation as inflation plays a crucial role by increasing the access to money to a broader population, but the increase is not uniform across all economic strata, right? Like someone who previously earned $39,000 might now earn 57, but this pales in comparison to someone who used to earn $390,000 but now earns $570,000. See, like the growth rate is similar, but the absolute increase in wealth is vastly different, which benefits those who have this benefits those who already have money, and it reinforces their control. And so while this shift appears as an empowerment and upward mobility for the lower class, it is essential to recognize that this exploitation still persists globally. And there is resistance to this, but the deep-seated issues in the Western human condition, such as our inherent self-doubt and alienation, hinders our ability to acknowledge and appreciate political and social progress. Our propensity to focus on the imperfections and potential negative outcomes often overshadows the positive changes that do occur. This pattern pervades our actions, especially those with progressive intent, and as a result, we often fail to achieve any of our objectives. On the rare occasion that we do, our perception is clouded by this same lens of undermining and self-alienation, which prevents us from fully recognizing and valuing our achievements. And this inability to acknowledge progress is not just a shortfall, it's a fundamental aspect of how we interact with and perceive our efforts in changing the world. And I keep repeating this because it's crucial to articulate, as it differentiates from this liberal viewpoint, which might overlook these deeper systemic issues in favor of a more surface level solution, like let's just print more money, increase the access to cash, right? Let's maybe do a universal basic income, because if we do a universal basic income within capitalism, that won't change anything. That will just make consumers better consumers. And so this tendency to overlook progress is partly due to the societal dichotomy that perpetuates this sense of helplessness against the ruling class and the established system. This system is designed by those in power, and it often renders traditional methods of effecting change completely ineffective. And as a result, people engage in struggles within the constraints of the framework that has shaped their identities. This framework not only reflects our purely negative traits, but also reinforces them and creates a cycle where this system becomes more entrenched and resistant to any type of positive change because it's so polarized against each other. And this dynamic is underscored through the complexity of attempting to effect any type of meaningful change within a system that is deeply rooted in the reflective of our own societal and psychological limitations. And because in this landscape of capitalism, there is this gravitational force that seemingly alleviates people through a process of liberalization, this liberalization is still intertwined with social alienation. This process creates a distinct split in our psyche in the upper middle class. Again, left, right, center. The left has social solidarity. It can relate to the lower class to some extent. In contrast, liberals primarily view the lower class as a means to an end and treat them as like potential voters or pawns to further their political power. On the far right, there is an even more stark disconnect, as far right individuals, despite being subjected to the same capitalist system, are aligned themselves with the upper class or the ruling class, and they might not even be able to perceive the lower class as fully human, which reflects that deep-seated divide in our societal perception and relations.